came close, keeping a tally of every
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Candy Slay. I'm Candy, and I have today with me Joseph, and I'll give it away to Joseph to introduce yourself.
Want to mess with the last name, huh? That's the perfect place to start. It looks French. It's not Leonard. It's Joseph M. Leonard without the O. It's actually derived from Polish. It was Leonard Łaskowicki or something at some point, right? Joseph M. Leonard without the O, and I have to use my middle initial M because there is a Joseph Leonard, spelled the same way, Lenard, out of South Carolina. I'm in Michigan. We're both Christian authors. So I have to make that distinction.
Yeah. You gotta let people know. Some people like the anonymity, so I just I leave out the last name just out of respect because we didn't discuss this before, so I probably should have mentioned that.
Yeah, and of course I see this tongue in cheek. I've tried reaching out to Joseph Leonard in South Carolina. He won't get back to me. But I get emails about his books, people thinking I'm him. I am not he is not me, and neither of us, I like to joke, will be confused for Shakespeare. Now, nothing against Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare, but this isn't Shakespearean times. I write for modern times, right? But we're both Christian authors, and I'd love to have him on my Christitutionalist show to have a discussion. I wonder if he ever gets an email about my stuff like I get about his stuff.
Right. Right. I wonder too. Yeah, he might just be busy. That sucks though. That would be awesome to be able to have him on your show.
Well, it's more fun to just say he's a lazy SOB.
That's
right, I gotta play me up and play him down.
Right. Let everyone know you're the best. So, you said that you're an author and you have a podcast. What, if you don't mind telling our audience, what are those about, or what do you do?
Yeah, Christitutionalist. I trademark that term because in politics, left, right, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican have connotations, and people get, knee-jerk emotional about it then. So you're either, in my mind, a Christian or you're not.
Right.
Are you biblical or are you not? That's what my show is about.
Yeah.
Our Judeo-Christian ethos foundations and history through biblical community. You either understand that and are a real Christian, or you're, as Christ said in Matthew 23, viper, snake, blind guide who doesn't deal in the whole Bible. The whole Bible, you can't just be either all kumbaya around the campfire. That's not the whole Bible. And you can't all be blood and guts and fire and brimstone. That's not the whole Bible either. You have to preach the whole Bible and Jesus' full message in context. Hence why I created a name, out of whole Christa for Christ and Institutionalist for our Judeo-Christian
I love the shirt.
Republic, limited republic constitution. And I have a Christitutionalist 4 books in a tinyurl.com/Christitutionalist EDU series, an educational series. I have 4 books like we're going to talk about here, my latest Complicated, in a tinyurl.com/Life and Living series about human nature and psychology, the human condition, like we're going to talk about today. And I also have a tiny URL. I don't know if I actually got a tiny URL for that one, but on Amazon you can find my Curiosity series also, which has how to write a book and get it published in there if you're thinking about writing a book, or if you're not, if you're just an avid reader. How does a book come to become a book? Well, this will show you that. And also, for those podcasting, quick start guide. Are you curious about podcasting? I got a book on that. I also have in the Curiosity series a very odd sci-fi. It's only on paper here. Is E.T. really here? A really short story. I don't have a physical book because it's only available on Amazon Kindle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got 3 different series, 12 books total, but we're here to talk about life and living and human condition, human psychology, human nature, those sorts of things.
Speaking of that, in your book, you discuss how people are in denial despite years of psychological patterns being repeated. Why is the human brain wired to choose choose the delusion of security over the uncomfortable truth of a threat?
Yeah, well, it of course depends on the person.
Mhm.
We are but one human race. We may have different skin tones, we may have different sub-regional cultures, but we are one human race.
Yes.
The whole concept of racism is a cultural Marxist construct to divide and conquer. We all share basically the same DNA and either XX or XY chromosomes. And despite that, Martin Luther King Jr. style, we have our own content of character. So while we are all similar, we can have varying attitudes and opinions, and indeed, as you suggested, some will always choose delusion over reality because it's just more comfortable to them. They don't want to have to think. They're the feeling crowd, right? In modern parlance, the snowflakes, right? Oh, my feelings, my feelings. I don't care about your feelings. I'm a fact based, logic and reason thinker type.
Yes.
But there are various types. And there's also why, back to my show, Jesus said, the poor will always be among you. That's not a governance or an economic statement. That's a recognition of human nature. There will always be some who will do nothing to try to actually make of themselves. And why the Bible makes the distinction. We are responsible to help those who are unable, but we have no responsibility or obligation to those who are unwilling to help themselves. It's all part of human nature. I forgot what I was going to say. Also, yeah, the Bible, yeah, unwilling versus unable, the poor will always be among you. The Bible does not say God helps those who help themselves, but it is contextually implied that God helps those who are at least willing. Again, that willing versus unable thing, willing to attempt to help themselves.
That is beautiful. I love it. I love your energy.
Oh, well, it's limited. When we're done, I'll need a nap. My energy is just, see, I have health issues. So I'm great for short bursts like a show, but after that, oh, you don't want to see me dragging my butt around here. Physically and mentally drained I will be when we're done. But yeah, while on camera, it's like it goes back to my high school days in play production, right? The show must go on.
Always.
Soon as the stage lights come up, I'm on. I'm good. I can put on a show, but boy, it'll take everything I have out of me.
You're great. So you started writing Terror Strikes in 2006, but finished it recently because you felt people had forgotten the lessons of the past. Does the routine of daily life act as a numbing agent that makes us less humanly aware of our surroundings?
times, yeah, it depends. Now,
Mhm.
you mentioned that I'm going to grab a copy of it.
Yes.
Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, one of my dozen books currently
Mhm.
out internationally available,
Mhm.
all through Amazon or Booktopia, and if you're in Australia or whatever. For some reason, I do well in Australia. That's why I mentioned Booktopia. But
Yeah.
yes, it is the first in the Life and Living series. Again, tinyurl.com/life and living series. The human condition. It's not about death and destruction, despite being about terrorism. It's about life and living. And indeed, one of the images I have that the publisher made for me is a woman holding a baby, right? Are you an ostrich or a mama bear? I am not trying to peddle fear porn. I don't want you to be paranoid, but I do want you to not be stupid, right? I want you to
Right.
be aware that sometimes bad things can happen to good people and at least aware of what's going on around you, a degree of situational awareness. And indeed, some people are an ostrich and just bury their head in the sand or up their hindside, to put it politely. uh, and others are aware, right? At
Right.
least to a degree that they understand they can't be paranoid 24/7, but you can't be blind to what can and may happen.
You choose to blend historical facts with a fictional story. Do humans process truth better than a story? Do do humans process truth better through a story than they do through raw data and news reports?
Again, it depends on the person, but yes, it's historical. It's technically the genre is historical fiction,
Yes.
or as I call it, faction.
Faction.
Part
I like that.
fact, part fiction,
Yeah.
right? Because the factual parts of the story help educate, because our education system is so damn poor these days, people aren't learning things, as well as then it bolsters and makes more credible my fictional aspects of the story, which again is not about trying to make people paranoid, but at least being awake and alert. And by awake, I don't mean woke.
That's funny. That's so funny that you say that because, like, so recently I was showing my mom a YouTube video about how they're saying that kids nowadays, because they're always on their screens, are becoming angrier and not as educated as they were in the past. And not even the next day, we're driving down the highway to go look at a car for my mom. And let me tell you, this school bus full of children are in front of us, and they start throwing pizza out the window to hit my mom's car. And they're saying slang words, they're cursing at us, yelling at us, giving us the middle finger. And we're sitting there playing along with them at first. And then once they start throwing the pizza, my mom's on the phone calling the cops on them. And luckily, some guy drives past in a motorcycle and goes and taps on the bus door and tries telling the bus driver to get a handle of the kids. I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah,
That is okay.
I'm a former IT guy, so I
Yeah.
always say, right, never before in the course of human history have people had easy access to facts.
Right.
But conversely, the other side of that coin is never before in history have people who, like delusion, have access to other delusional morons and the bubble of preferred narratives rather than facts. So, yeah, technology is great on one hand, and it's horrible on the other. George Orwell, 1984. We're absolutely living it. Twisting and warping of language. I have an X account, J. Leonard, Michigan. My third account, because the other ones were locked out. My first one had 250,000 followers. My J. Leonard, Michigan has next to no followers on it right now. But I was joking with Grok, the
Yeah.
AI. I invented George E. Orwell because
Yeah.
Orwell was dark enough, but kind of combine him with the Pooh universe, Eeyore, and his
Yeah.
endless gloom. So
Oh,
we've been
that's great.
joking for like 4 or 5 days now. Things George E. Orwell in the Weirdiverse, as we've coined it, and we've gone back and forth on that. Like, what would Annie be like, right? The
Yeah.
play?
Yeah.
Because in my most recent book, Complicated, in the Life and Living series, just came out January 2026. Where was I going with that?
We were talking about the
Uh,
Eeyore.
yeah, Eeyore Longfellow is quoted. Every life a little rain must fall. Now I remember. Right? Figurative and literal. There's going to be some rain, and you've got to be prepared for those days. And
Right.
as humans, we're all entitled to bad days on occasion, too. But it matters whether we try to be positive and upbeat and friendly people, as opposed to, also in the book, the mass holes, as I call them, the masses of asses. But I was referring to Annie. There's a chapter called Annie in the book.
Yeah.
Uh, like George E. Orwell, Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. Well, no, in Eorville, Weirdiverse, the sun will never come out again, right? In Eeyore's gloom and doom type, right? Play on that aspect of the human nature of pessimism.
That's so entertaining. I don't think I don't think you let our audience know where can they find your living book.
Well, again, the easiest is the tinyurl.com shortcut. tinyurl.com/life and living series.
Okay.
That'll take
Yeah.
you to those books.
Okay.
Or Joseph M. Leonard in Amazon or any
Yeah.
online bookstore. Or if you have a brick and mortar near you, Terror Strikes was available in some brick and mortar stores. I don't know if it still is.
I love it. So I've noticed that a major theme in your work is the value of the individual. Is the ability to think and act as an individual rather than part of a collective what truly defines our humanity.
Yes, Martin Luther King Jr. again. You are not part of the identity politics group some want to put you in. You don't have to think a certain way because you look, because of
Yeah.
your skin tone or because of your wild hair color. Right? That doesn't mean what people may want to expect of and from you just because you look a certain way. Content of character, and you've got to get to know someone. But
Yeah.
a book, people will judge by its cover.
Yes.
Humans, you shouldn't do that. Because again, back to everyone's entitled to a bad day. You meet someone on the street, maybe they're having a bad, maybe they're the nicest person you would ever meet, but that day they seem to be one of the assholes. They're a real ass. They're having a bad day. But that's why, biblically, grace and second chances have to be part of our lives.
Right.
Understanding, again, it all goes back to human nature, the human condition. And again, I'm not asking anyone to take a bunch of psychology classes like I did, but I'm expecting you to at least have a modicum of understanding of how humanity is and understand people can have bad days.
It's true.
Or conversely, that person who seems so nice and wonderful is a scammer. Right? You
Especially
have to
online.
be right. You have to be careful. You have, again, situational awareness. Be awake and alert, not paranoid.
Yeah, that's funny. We were just watching a movie. It's called Joyride, and it's about these three Asian girls.
I
Like
know that
before,
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just got done watching it, and like before they even get to the airport or whatever, the one girl just and she's sitting there playing the racquetball, I think, and the guys that are in there the gym with her, they're just sitting there. They're like, "Oh, it's because you're Asian, you're a woman that you're able to play so well." Like, I hate that stuff, and it
Yeah,
just
well, let's again, and I know some will want to take what I'm about to say out of context, but reality is stereotypes exist for reasons.
yeah,
One reason is there is sometimes a basis in reality. And indeed, certain people, Asians, tend to be better at math. Why? Not because of their race, and again, that's a cultural Marxist construct,
right.
but because of the type of parenting they usually have and the importance placed on schooling that unfortunately parents of other cultural, regional uh, makeup of humans don't place upon it. Uh, so stereotypes can exist based on a modicum of reality, or they can exist on, again, identity politics, divide and conquer, purposefully willful and malice aforethought attempt to want to paint a bad picture. But rednecks, right now, look at my head. For those viewing on video, you could see I have a bald head. I am not a neo Nazi, right? Just because I'm white and I have a bald head, this isn't the 1980s, I'm not a neo Nazi. I had leukemia in 2010. The cancer meds caused the hair to come out. I keep it shaved now, right? Don't judge a book by its cover.
Congratulations on getting through the cancer.
Yeah, I'm still in remission, so yeah,
That's
there's
amazing.
that. But yeah, that's the human nature thing again. Don't jump to conclusions.
Mhm.
Just because I have a bald head doesn't, AKA, make me a neo-Nazi.
Right. I feel like that kind of coincides with conspiracy theories. Like usually there's like it's like playing Chinese telephone. Like usually there's a little bit of truth, but as it got down the chain, it just got completely scrambled.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a former IT guy.
Yeah.
So I know all about 5G and smart meters. I've got a friend, Diana. If
Yeah.
I have a friend, Jason, who's whenever he's around Diana, he'll get out his phone and say 5G, and that's all he's got to do. And oh my God, we're all gonna die! It's killing everybody. No, no, it's not. Yes, yes, some people are more susceptible to 5G radiation than others. Some people, smart meters, there is a certain degree of wavelength radiation. Some people, I know as an IT guy, may be more susceptible to that than others. But this, oh my God, we're all going to die, it's killing us, is nuts. But as you said, every conspiracy theory usually has a grain of truth in it somewhere and then gets blown way out of proportion.
Yeah. There's always that one guy. But you advocate for constant vigilance. Does being human require us to be more than just passive observers? Is active protection of our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness a moral duty?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And that's again the different. We all share the same basic DNA, but indeed our personalities are different. And indeed, there will always be, as Jesus said, the poor among us because they're just not willing to do much of anything. They feel entitled. Right? And that everybody owes them something just because they're here. So, yeah, you you shall be known by your fruits, to go back to the Bible, right? You What you do or don't do matters. Are you sowing good or are you sowing bad? Or are you just one of the ambivalent fools doing nothing that then allows the evil to sow bad, and then the rotten fruit we're all supposed to have to choke down because you did nothing? Edmund Burke is often accredited with only think for evil to prevail is good people's do nothing. Well, he is spoken a variation of a biblical tenet also, and that is indeed true. You can't just sit idly by and piss, moan, bitch, and whine that everything around you has gone to the Midas touch. If you're from, the Midas touch,
Yeah.
people, everything turns to gold. Well, the
Yeah.
opposite is the Midas touch. Everything turns to
It's the
shit.
shit.
Right? Yeah. You're partly responsible for that if you're not doing anything to help. You're
Right.
either helping pull the cart or you're part of the dead weight in the cart, to
Yeah.
go to Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged.
My favorite is when like those type of people end up being the ones that like fail forward.
Oh,
And they, like
yeah.
man, that just grinds my gears.
Yeah, that right. That's another kind of a classification. The coasters of the world. Yeah, they manage to coast their way through life, managing to fail their way up the ladder. Yes, yeah. That pisses off hard workers to no end. Yes.
Yes. So you've researched why certain groups seek to destroy Western culture. From a philosophical standpoint, what happens to a human being when they value an ideology more than they value human life?
That's a tough question, but yes, it is kind of addressed in Terror Strikes Coming
Yes.
Soon to a City Near You. But again, it's not just about there, it's about life over death, hope over fear, faith over despair, positive aspects. You got to take the good with the bad. And unfortunately, there will always, God gave us all free will. And people have the free will to engage in evil.
Yes.
And wanting to acquire things for themselves by stealing it from others, by tearing down others. As Abraham Lincoln said, you never lift up a people by tearing down another set of people. It doesn't work that way. And in our constitutionally limited republic, we are all guaranteed equal opportunity, not equity of outcome. You have opportunity to make for yourselves or not. And yes, there will always be some, again, evil who try to hold others down, but you look for then other opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, there's always opportunities.
You are always the center of your own equation, and not in complicated. In the Book of Kennedy, Project Carpe Diem, this is the hardcover version copy. Uh, the sum total of the math of your life, right? The good, the bad, there's always going to be some, but does your good and at least attempt at good at the end of the day balance more in your favor or not? In the old Egyptian uh, multi-god theology, Osiris measuring your heart and your soul to a feather. What is the equation? Will it balance? Will you be biblically in the book of life? Which means you have to have done things to be in the book of life. Going through life thinking you don't have to do good to be considered good, it doesn't work that way. And that again goes back to those Matthew 23 types of the Bible who just want to think kumbaya around the campfire all day long and think everything will be fine in the next life. No, you must do things. As the Bible says, again, but one scripture has to be weighed against all of them in context. One does not outweigh another. But I forgot the scripture. Faith without deeds is meaningless. Well, again, that scripture also has to be balanced with we are all saved in the blood. So yes, we are saved by grace and by Jesus being the final blood sacrifice. That's why we no longer sacrifice animals to God. But context, you've got to weigh it all together.
My favorite thing to always tell people is that there's always a choice. Because some people believe and try to say that, like, oh, well, I had no options. I mean, you had the option to either perform or to not. So those are your options.
I'm glad you said that too, because for the musical people in the audience, Rush, not Limbaugh, the radio guy, Rush, the Canadian rock group, right?
Yes.
If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Right.
That's not from the Bible, but it is absolutely biblical in nature.
Yes.
Or Triumph, another Canadian rock trio. I don't know why I'm quoting only rock trios out of Canada, but Fight the Good Fight and Never Surrender songs. Also, all part of, in my books of late, I've created a soundtrack. I like giving you bonus material. You don't just buy the book, but you get bonus material. You can go to tinyurl.com/Carpe Diem official playlist. And there are songs, including all the ones I just mentioned, as well as Rick Springfield Prayer or Michael Jackson Man in the Mirror, right? I'm looking at the man in the mirror and I'm asking him to change his ways, right? It starts with you. You have say in what happens. You are not blameless when things go bad if you're not trying to promote goodness.
You're saying such powerful stuff. I love it.
Well, this again, we're here talking psychology,
Yes.
human nature, the human condition. It hasn't changed in millennia, and it ain't gonna change.
No.
But again, God gave us free will. You choose to be good, or you choose to be a worthless piece of shit.
Right. Right. That's the power of choice. Your protagonist, Martin, learns more than he bargained for. When a human being stares into the darkness of terrorism and hate for too long, how does it change their soul?
It can. And that's where, again, human nature. Are you strong as a person? Are you strong in your faith and beliefs? Or are you, now I will quote Rush Limbaugh, a brain skull full of mush, moldable, easily fooled, easily suckered, or as Barnum used to say, as part of the George E. Orwell Weirdiverse universe I was discussing with Grok. I forgot where I was going with that now. Brains full of mush, easily fooled. Oh, Barnum. That's what it was. I remembered. Thank you, Lord, for reminding me. Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute. Well, today, if he were around, he'd be saying in the computer era, there's a sucker born every nanosecond, right?
I love it. Your book touches on survivors' guilt and suicidal thoughts. Is our humanity most visible in the way we carry the scars of events we survived but didn't choose?
Yeah, survivor's guilt is one of those tough ones. That's one of the serious, although it's very serious material, but there's a comic relief chapter in it to make the point. No matter how serious things get, you got to keep a sense of humor. Or we'll go like Cypress Hill, to quote another musical group, insane in the membrane, right? Survivor's guilt, PTSD, is one of the very serious sub-threads in terror strikes coming soon to a city near you. Because it's a real thing. It's part of human nature to those who survived 9/11, for example. How is it that I got out? Why am I still here? My friends are all dead. Why? Because your life still has value and meaning. I myself, I don't like to talk about it because I'm not proud of it. I'm a suicide attempt survivor, 2004. But so I now more than ever know all life has value and meaning. It isn't in the big stuff. It isn't like It's a Wonderful Life movie. And Clarence, you're not going to have a guardian angel come down and show you all the wonderful things you did. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you might not see, like in the Book of Kennedy, a smile shared with someone who was having a bad day. I call it the Pantene shampoo effect, right? If you remember the ad, they tell two people, then they tell two people, pretty soon you've got an exponential movement. That small little smile may save a life, who then goes on to have a child who cures cancer. Well, guess what? You might not think anything. You probably won't remember that day that you smiled at so and so, but it had a big impact. Like another movie I love, The Butterfly Effect,
That's a good
right?
movie.
It
Mhm.
Little things can have a big resonating effect down the road that you may never realize. And that devil on your shoulder telling you your life is meaningless is a liar. Satan is a liar, the great deceiver. Your life has value and meaning, whether you see it or not. Doesn't make it untrue.
So I don't mean to minimize it, but like, would you say that's kind of like similar to imposter syndrome?
In a way,
Okay.
I think those are like two sides of a similar coin,
Yeah.
as the saying goes. Yeah, imposter syndrome. That's again the negative side of our nature. Uh, there's such a thing. Pride is not the sin. People often say pride, oh, that's a sin. Well, I should be proud of little Johnny hitting the walk-off home run at Little League. I should be proud of that. Little Sally getting all A's on her report card. That's something to be proud of. That is different than pridefulness all the time, which is hubris, which I go into in my third book of the Constitutionalist Education series, Constitutionalist Politics 3. Hubris is a sin. And the inverse of that is absolute, complete, low or no self esteem. That is also equally destructive. So the imposter syndrome plays into a low sense of self-esteem that, oh, we don't feel worthy of something or another, even though it is a worthy thing, and indeed something to be proud of. But going around saying you're the greatest and smartest person on the planet and nobody else can do what you do, that's hubris. That's a sin. That's a sin.
That's what makes the difference.
Yeah. Hey, uh, not everything's black and white.
No.
There's a lot of my constitutional show, I've got 2 episodes on gray areas. I highly recommend anywhere podcasts are found. You can find Constitutionalist podcast. I'm on 5 video channels. I'm on 25 plus audio only channels. So look up the gray areas 2 episodes of my Constitutionalist podcast. Because indeed, a lot of things are gray areas. Not all black, it's not all white, there's gray areas.
I'm the gray area because I'm mixed. No, I'm kidding. Got the black and the white.
Are you mulatto?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And you had the right reaction because some people, again, the woke identity politics crowd would want you to be offended.
Yes.
Mulatto is a legal, genetically proper scientific term. a black parent and a white. Obama was a mulatto. He wasn't the first black president. He was the first mulatto president. That
Yes.
isn't derogatory.
No.
That is a properly defined factual thing.
um, so you explore the Torah, Bible, and Quran in your book, and the face of terror is faith, a psychological necessity for a human to maintain their sanity and hope.
Yeah, people who do, I have to have software on even my home phone as an author because of that book. I get death threats, right?
Yeah.
People who have not read the book automatic,
gosh.
oh, you're racist, you're sexist, you're homophobic, you're Islamic. No, there's a chapter in here, chapter 9. Well, I'm not finding it offhand. Well, there's London, but there's a Tokyo chapter,
Okay.
which goes into Om Sri-Yoko, which is a Christian doomsday cult. Terrorism comes in a wide variety of flavors and ideal in all of them. Islamic fundamentalists, or as I call them, geishas, global Islamic jihadist interim army soldiers. That's kind of like we called Nazis Nazis rather than National Socialist Deutschland Arbeiter Party. They invented the term. Goebbels himself called themselves Nazi Socies, and we shortened it to Nazis. So I came up with the term geishas. Islamic fundamentalist radicals are the most prominent terrorism of our day. It's not the only one. An ideal in all reality, not just limited narrative.
It's one thing to say something offensive, but it's another to just like state a fact.
Yeah. Oh, and a lot of people think facts are
Offensive.
Are offensive, right? Like
Yeah.
the term mulatto.
Right.
Oh my God! What a racist piece of shit for using the. No, you know my intent is not to be offensive, and you took it the right way. Now, there are people who are pieces of shit who may use that term in a derogatory manner, but again, that doesn't reflect on you or me. That
No, that's
reflects
them.
on them. That is the content of their character. And know that about them. It says nothing about you and me.
Correct. I love it. This is great. So
And
we're
by the way, back to the hair. I love the hair.
thank you.
As a matter of fact, in Terror Strikes coming soon to a city near you, there's a fictionalized version of Martin going into a pizza place, which actually happened to me, but I fictionalized it. It's in the comic relief section. The girls the girls with the wild red hair. I loved it, but I went over and joked with them, so I put it in the book.
Yeah.
There were 3 of them. 2 had wild red dyed hair, which I loved it. I wasn't being facetious. I was being playful when I went over and teased the natural brownish, dirty blonde haired girl. I said, "Oh, so you're the boring one then, right?" Right? It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. Lighten up, people.
Right. It's not that serious.
Compared to the girls who, with the wild red hair, you might appear to be a people wrongfully assume you're the boring one.
That's funny.
Again, Martin Luther King Jr. Content of character. You've got to get to know someone.
Right. Yeah, for all you know, she could have been the wild one.
Exactly. She might have been the wilder one, and the other 2, the more mild ones when you get to know them. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much for expounding on my point.
So we are capable of great love and great terror. Is being human the act of choosing love or hate, even when hate feels like it's winning?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, in terror
Absolutely.
strikes, love over hate.
Mhm.
Even terrorism, hate, and religion and politics are part of it, but indeed a lot of it is hate-filled motivations.
Mhm.
And indeed, people with signs, love conquers hate. Well, we know it wins in the end based on the book of Revelation,
Mhm.
but on this fallen world, indeed, we are required to try love over hate, but also at the same time, there are some for political reasons, hint, hint, the woke again, with this idiotic hate, right?
Mhm.
Immigration, which I do go into in the book to a degree. No one I know is against legal immigration. Some of the most patriotic people on the planet I know, the most pro American, are legal immigrants from communist countries. They
Yeah.
escaped. They don't want us turning into the shithole they escaped from.
Right.
Meanwhile, idiots born here will call it hateful to expect people to come legitimately, legally. Hate has nothing to do with skin tone or origin. There are about almost 200 nations on the planet. I don't care what nation, a white nation, a brown nation, a purple polka dot nation, you come legally. That's not hate.
No,
And
it's
your
not.
idiotic love conquers hate in that context is stupid. It's just dumb. You're not dealing in reality and facts and the law that every damn nation on this has immigration laws. You
Yes.
cannot just have a completely open border.
if if denial makes us robotic and presence makes us vigilant, is a true human simply someone who refuses to look away from the truth?
I'd like to hope so. And I joke right, all the time. Hope is great. Hope
Yes.
is wonderful. And we need more hope. But hope isn't a strategy. It goes back to us. We must sow good. We must talk up good. We must talk up righteousness over evil. So, yeah, again, as you said, it's a choice. And back to Rush, the Canadian rock group. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. And as Burke said, all required for evil prevail is good people's do nothing.
And last but not least, you've spent decades studying the threats in our way of life and the psychological denial that allows those threats to grow. What does it truly mean to be human when the world is dangerous and you have to choose every day to value life over death?
Yeah, again, it goes back to I don't want people paranoid, but I want you to be a thinker. At beforeitsnews.com, my articles are tinyurl.com/JLD articles, short for Joseph Leonard Detroit, JLD articles at tinyurl.com. I have pieces. No, I forgot. I threw myself off again. But about that again, don't you can't be paranoid, but you've got to try to be alert and help not just yourself but others. Here's where I was going to go with that. It's like the saying, if you're on a plane and you lose cabin pressure and the masks come down, you must put the mask on you first before you can help others because you're no help to yourself or anyone else if you're one of the ones flopping around on the ground starving for oxygen, can't breathe. You must help yourself first, but it can't only be about you. And that goes back to the Michael Jackson Man in the Mirror or Rick Springfield's prayer song. Rick Springfield's prayer song goes, I send a prayer to heaven for a chance to be a better man than the man I see. Presumably homage to Michael Jackson, the man looking back at at the mirror at myself. Yeah, right. I have to fix me before I can help others.
Right. You know, a lot of people say that's selfish, but it's really not.
No.
Like, there's like you have to make sure that you're in check and that your mental health's in check, that you're spiritually in check, everything, in order to be able to help somebody else. Because if you're not, you're just going to lead them down the wrong path.
Oh, you are so right. That it goes back to pride and hubris.
Yes.
Selfish in the fact that understanding you have to be in a place of goodness to be able to help others versus selfishness that you are in a good place, but you refuse to help others. A big difference, the same word, the intent is all the difference in the meaning.
Yes. And for our listeners and our viewers, do you have any last final words?
Ah, well, yeah, in a lot of my life and living series books nowadays, one I didn't. Uh-oh, where'd you go?
I'm here. I don't
Why?
know.
Hold on. Oh, there you're back. Okay. I hit my mouse and the window went away.
Oh.
Again, back to macro suck Winslow 11. Well, here's the one I didn't share. A short story, A Lasting Legacy is the third in the Life and Living series book. I have my characters repeat my life philosophy. Things could always be better, but they could often be worse. Yes, and to find me, Joseph M. Leonard .us. Again, it looks French. It's not Leonard. It's Leonard without an O, Lenard. Or you could go to terrorstrikes.info is the my first international books book page. Or if you're familiar with Linktree, linktr.ee/ J. Leonard Detroit will give you all of my links.
It's absolutely beautiful. Well, thank you guys. It's been another excellent episode of Gandy Slays. I'm your host, Gandy, and this is Joseph.
Oh, Joseph M. Leonard. I'm sorry, I missed my cue.
It's okay.
I missed my cue. I
All right.
blew it.
Bye, guys. Oh, wait, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.